So there's a point to be made. I understand you want a healthy, like you want Twitter to grow. You need it to grow. The shareholders need it to grow. The advertisers need to advertise. So you've got all these restrictions. But allowing people to say these awful things makes sure we stay away from them, and it allows us to avoid certain people. And isn't it important to know that these people hold these beliefs? If you get rid of them, someone could walk into a business and you wouldn't even know that they were a neo-Nazi. But if they were high profile saying their things, you'd be like, that's the guy I don't like.
You're absolutely right. This is like one of my favorite sayings is that sunlight is the best disinfectant. And it's so, so, so true. Like one of the biggest problems with censorship is the fact that you push people underground and you don't know what's going on. And this is something I worry about. It's not that I don't worry about it.
Well, then why do you ban people for these rules?
Because I also worry about driving people away from the platform and affecting their real lives. So, we're trying to find this right balance, and I hear you. Like, you may not think we're drawing the lines in the right place, and we get that feedback all the time, and we're always trying to find the right places to do this. But I worry as much about, the underground and, being able to shine a light on these things as anything else.
Tim, I think it's a cost-benefit analysis, and we have to constantly rehash it and do it. We have the technology we have today, and we are looking at technologies which open up the aperture even more. And we all agree that a binary on or off is not the right answer and is not scalable. We have started getting into nuance within our enforcement, and we've also started getting into nuance with the presentation of content. So, one path might have been for some of your replies for us to just remove those offensive replies completely. We don't do that. We hide it behind an interstitial to protect the original tweeter and also folks who don't want to see that. They can still see everything. They just have to do one more tap. So that's one solution. Ranking is another solution. But as technology gets better and we get better at applying to it, we have a lot more optionality, whereas we don't have that as much today.
I feel like, I'm just going to reiterate an earlier point, though. If you recognize sunlight as the best disinfectant, it's like you're chasing after a goal that can never be met. If you want to protect all speech and then you start banning certain individuals, you want to increase the amount of healthy conversations, but you're banning some people. Well, how long until this group is now offended by that group? How long until you've banned everybody?
I hear you. I don't believe a permanent ban promotes health. Ultimately.
Okay.
I don't believe that. But we have to work with the technologies, tools, and conditions that we have today, and evolve over time to where we can see examples like this woman at the Westboro Baptist Church who was using Twitter every single day to spread hate against the LGBTQA community. And over time, we had, I think it was 3 or 4 folks on Twitter who would engage her every single day about what she was doing, and she actually left the church.
That's Megan Phelps. She's on my podcast. She's amazing.
And
she's now pulling her family out of that as well. And you could make the argument that if we banned that account early on, she would have never left the church. I completely hear that. We get it. It's just.
Well, so let's. I just want to make sure we're advancing the conversation too, and not just going to go back. So I'll just ask you this: have you considered allowing some of these people permanently banned back on with some restrictions? Maybe you can only tweet twice per day. Maybe you can't retweet or something to that effect.
I think we're very early in our thinking here, so we're open-minded to how to do this. I think we agree philosophically that permanent bans are an extreme case scenario, and it shouldn't be one of our, regularly used tools in our tool chest. So how we do that, I think, is something that we're actively talking about today.
Is there a timeline that we can? So look,
I think that would fix a lot of problems.
You think so?
Yes, I really do.
Even if it's I'm just curious. Are you thinking bans of a year, or 5 years, 10 years? I'm just curious. What is a reasonable ban in this kind of context?
Well, I think reasonably, someone should have to state their case as to why they want to be unbanned. Someone should have to have a well-measured, considerate response to what they did wrong. Do they agree with what they did wrong? Maybe perhaps saying why they don't think they did anything wrong, and you could review it from there.
I think one of the challenges is we have the benefit in English common law of hundreds of years of precedent and developing new rules and figuring out what works and doesn't. Twitter's very different. So I think with the technology, I don't know if you need permanent bans or even suspensions at all. You could literally just, lock someone's account is essentially suspending them, but I wouldn't, claim to know anything about the things you go through, but what if you just restricted most of what they could say? You blocked certain words in a certain dictionary. If someone received
such a greased hill.
Well, but think about it this way: is it better that they're permanently banned, or
no,
if
it's not better, but it's not good either.
Well, no. Think about it this way: instead of being suspended for 72 hours, you get a dictionary block from hate speech words, right? Does that not make sense?
But people just use coded language. This is what we see all the time.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good move. What